Yankees Files podcast. We are back. I'm Will Harris, and you are a very special guest. Some people know, some people don't. I am joined today. I heard that it was really good to have a Taylor from Nashville on your podcast. So I had to bring in the most famous one I could think of, inventor of many a Yankees Files bit, originator of Hit Ball Over Fence. You are Taylor Jackson, and the rest of you are fans of the team that leads baseball in Fangraphs WAR from position players, as well as WRC plus. That team is, of course, the New York Yankees. Taylor, we've got a ton to get into on this episode. Thank you for co-hosting in the absence of Steve. The Yankees just dropped 3 of 4 to the Red Sox, had the 500 week that felt least like a 500 week of all time. As we start recording this, they're up 7-0 on the Washington Nationals. Before we get into all of that, I have two things. First, as we record this, it's August 25th, and the Irish and the Vols are undefeated. And second, how are you doing? It's great to have you here.
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate the fantastic introduction. I would like to add to your introduction of all of my accolades that I am definitely not the guy that advocated for the Yankees to trade for Jake Bird at the trade deadline. I was definitely not that guy, and if you saw me promoting that, then I was hacked. So
yep, just as you were anytime you may or may not have tweeted some disparaging things about one Garrett Allen Cole.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like my view on my Yankees, just any take I have about the Yankees is they're either correct or I was hacked.
Yeah, you may have some weak passwords like David Cohn was alluding to the other night.
What was that about? I heard him say that on Sunday Night Baseball, but I didn't know why he said it.
I think he was just doing a really weak bit about Yostinction Garcia and the nickname, the password.
Oh,
and then he was saying that like his passwords are never any good. But yeah, I think it needed work. And like, if I'm saying a bit needs work, it's kind of,
No, I thought it was just something that I didn't catch. And I wondered like if like the camera went into the booth as he was like logging into something on
Can you imagine?
Like everybody just all of a sudden had David Cohn's username and password for everything.
What would you tweet if you were logged into David Cohn's Twitter?
Oh, what a fantastic first question.
I had no idea that we were going to get to this. I would have told you in advance.
But this is the best first question ever. I'd probably start a beef with David Wells. I'd say good. How my perfect game was way better than his perfect game or something, like just something to stir the pot.
That's good. That's good.
I think that would ruffle some feathers and get a lot of engagement for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one. I would probably just start tweeting like David Cohn Hall of Fame propaganda.
Yeah.
And people would be like, wow, David Cohn's really promoting his Hall of Fame case. And then I would make sure I threw in phrases like toeing the slab and the boogie down and Laredo and other David Cohn words. So Taylor, we discussed you are Taylor from Nashville, the best kind of person these days to have on a podcast. Are you dropping an album?
I don't have plans to.
Disappointing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I could. I would. I'm not really sure what genre of music I would be, but I've never really been like musically inclined.
Okay.
If you will. Maybe it's just growing. Maybe it's like growing up here. I don't know if you get like I like music. Don't get me wrong, of course, but like my mom like tried so hard to get me to like play different instruments and go to like music lessons and stuff, like guitar lessons. And I was like, I want to watch baseball pretty much. And
this is such a classic Yankees Files podcast because we're 5 minutes in, we're talking about which instruments you played as a child.
This is 1,000%. Yeah, this is, we haven't skipped a beat in Yankees Files with a guest co-host. It is, exactly the same.
This is the real deal. So, you talk about growing up in Nashville. How is it that you're a Yankees fan? I imagine that at your age and where you're from, everyone was a Braves fan. Those were the games you got on TV. So how does one in that area at that time in particular become a Yankees fan?
Yeah. So you're definitely right about that. It is overwhelmingly a Braves run state. Mm-hmm. You do have a lot of West Tennessee are Cardinals fans.
Okay, sure.
Because it is kind of there's like a highway in West Tennessee. It's a straight shot to St. Louis, and it's not that far. But yeah, overwhelmingly so. The Braves kind of run the Middle Tennessee area for sure, and Nashville. Those that do follow baseball. So I think I was in either the second or third grade. I was 9 years old, and like I really started to get into baseball, and I was just like right around that age where I could piece together like which players like played for what teams.
Sure.
I even had like Major League Baseball like bed sheets in like the third grade.
Yeah.
So like that had the logos of every team. So that kind of like actually helped me learn the teams.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, tuning in to like Sports Center and stuff where I'd see, highlights and clips. And I just started to learn like all the stars and best players, but I didn't have like an allegiance to any specific team. That said, this was, and I don't want this to sound like dark at all, because that's not something we do on the Yankees Files podcast is get dark with anything. But I am a bit older than you, I believe. And so I was 9 and September 11th happened. And
yeah.
So that happened. And then obviously like sports stopped. And I mean, I was 9 years old. I didn't really I may have even been 8, but like, I couldn't like wrap my head around that. I couldn't comprehend, what was happening. But the 2001 World Series, obviously, was the Yankees and the Diamondbacks. And I was just like, I want the Yankees to win because that is where where 9/11 occurred. And I felt like, I was like, that city could use that. It was interesting because I'm going to use finger quotes for those listening. I had no idea who the Yankees were.
Yeah.
Like zero. I did not know watching that World Series that they had won the last 3 World Series. Sure. I did not know George Steinbrenner's name. I didn't know Babe Ruth's name. It was just like I started watching that World Series, and obviously, though they lost that World Series, which was my first experience, of course, with sports heartbreak, a feeling I would get very, very familiar with.
Yeah.
Even though they lost that World Series, it's one of the greatest World Series ever, and there were some magical moments, in that World Series for the Yankees, and they lost, and I remember it was like, I was upset, and my parents were like, why, you didn't care about this a week ago. Why are you, why are you, taking this so hard now? And I was like, I don't know, but I think I'm going to be a Yankee fan for the rest of my life.
That's so cool.
24 years later, we have not let up.
So you're definitely the first person who owes his Yankee fandom to Osama bin Laden that I've heard of.
Yeah.
So that's one way to look at it, at least.
That is a way to look at it. Yes.
No, but that's really cool. And it's interesting, I think with Whipple, with Steve, with me, with my dad, like the people who are normally on this podcast are Yankees fans by inheritance. It was hereditary. And it's interesting to come across someone who came to them independently and also did so in what I would call like a legitimate way. Like, a lot of people who became Yankees fans in the late 90s or early 2000s probably really enjoyed the front running of it all. And that's not to say that there's something wrong with that, or I guess I called it illegitimate kind of. So it's, it's different. There's something genuine about adopting a team in the way that you did, or for any reason other than they're the best, that I think is kind of cool. And so this is actually, so 2001, we got Ichiro, we being the United States. And that was really the advent of streaming in professional sports. There's a great episode of the podcast Acquired. If anyone listens to that, you should, about the company BAMTech, which was MLB Advanced Media. And it talks about how streaming like architecture and infrastructure that exists today is largely like the ancestor or the progeny of what Major League Baseball built to stream Ichiro's games from the US to Japan. Anyway, that is to say, you couldn't in 2002 just sign up for MLB TV in the way that you can now and watch every game in HD and high speed in real time. So as you're growing up, how are you watching the Yankees? Is it just, boy, I hope they're on Fox. Boy, I hope they're on Sunday Night Baseball. Did you have like the really fancy MLB extra innings package on your cable subscription? Like, what are the logistics of even acting on your Yankees fandom as a 12-year-old in Tennessee in the mid 2000s?
This is a great question. And like, as you were, talking about Ichiro and kind of how that's where streaming kind of started. This is where I kind of hoped it was going. But so, when I first started out, it was kind of exactly like I went to great lengths to, I guess, practice my Yankee fandom, really like there were obviously, not growing up in the market where I didn't have access to a lot of games. Luckily, the Yankees are a team that was on, national television quite a bit. For those games, I remember a lot of the time, like my parents would go out to eat with like their friends, on like Sunday nights, Wednesday nights. And I would just like beg them, like, can we go somewhere that has televisions?
Yeah.
And like, we'd be at like Outback Steakhouse and like, they're like sitting at a table, like on the other end of the restaurant. And I would be like, Mom, can I go to the bar and watch the Yankees? Right. And I would do that. And I would just stand in the bar area to like watch the Yankees. And I'd watch, obviously the nationally televised games at home that I could, but I spent a lot of time like sitting in front of a computer watching the, like, I forget what they called it at the time, but like the game cast or whatever.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're seeing like a stick figure batter in a box and you've got the, pitch one and it shows, in play runs, like stuff like that. And I would like sit in front of my computer and watch that like I was watching the game, like that was as good as it got. I remember specifically one time just clicking clicking refresh over and over because it was the ninth inning and we were down by a couple runs, and it was the game where Jason Giambi hit a walk-off grand slam.
2002 against the Twins, was that?
I believe that's correct.
I think so.
I can't remember, but I think that sounds right. And I was just like, it's screaming in our like computer room because the dot came up that said in play runs and the score changed and the Yankees had scored 4 runs, like
May 17th, 2002, nailed it.
Nice. And it was against the Twins?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So that's kind of how I had to do it. And then when I got to high school, like we did have a cable package, and I like asked for MLB extra innings for Christmas. So high school was when I really started to watch like a lot. I was able to watch like a lot more games, even though I kept up with, all of them. But I was able to watch a lot more games. And then in college, like me and a couple buddies like split MLB TV.
Yeah.
And since then, obviously I just have my own like MLB TV, and I never take that for granted. Like the fact that I am able to watch every out of market game, every single Yankee game from here, the fact that like I can come home from work and Michael K is a part of my day, in my living room, just like he is for people in New York. Like I think about that often, where I'm like, this is so cool that I can do this.
Yeah, it's so funny. Again, I mean, it's the same thing, but having that perspective of someone who did not grow up with the Yes Network on their TV constantly. Like obviously some of what we're talking about predates the Yes Network, but like, for basically my entire sports watching career, my entire sports watching life, I've been in a market where I can turn on the Yes Network and have it, and that's how I get my Yankee games. And that evolution of not even knowing who the Yankees are to like, scratching and clawing and doing everything just to get any piece of information to obviously where you are today, getting to watch every game from wherever you are, no matter what, seems really gratifying. This is totally random, but did you ever, in like mid 2000s, do you remember going on MLB.com and going into like the multimedia archive and just clicking through games and watching the different like plays that they would upload as highlights? It'd be like, oh, you could like click on a game and you could watch like, Hideki Matsui 3-run homer. That's like how I would keep up on stuff. Anyway, that's just a total aside.
I think I went to the Yankees. I went to like Yankees.com.
Yeah.
And I think that like there were those options, and it would take you to MLB.com.
Yeah, exactly.
And watch them there. Yeah.
Yeah. What a time.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, look, everyone, I guess you'll probably have a separate piece to say about A-Rod. So let's take him out of this portion of the conversation.
Okay.
But like Jeter was everyone's favorite player. Rivera was everyone's favorite player. Pettit was everyone's favorite player. So like take out those guys, who were like your dudes. Like I was a huge Matsui fan. My grandpa was a huge Posada fan. There were some even more obscure kind of like, role player guys. Andy Phillips, I loved. So like, who were like your guys? Like Hoodie Allen came on here and he was like, I loved Clay Bellinger. Who were your guys as you were growing up watching this team?
So, and I thought about that like before we started recording, because I figured that question would come up. And so I broke it down into 3 categories, actually.
I love this.
Yeah. I broke it down into all-time favorite players, and then somewhat obscure and very obscure.
This is awesome.
And like, I did think about the fact, I was like, do I, if I say Jeter, Bernie Williams, Posada, it's like, we love those guys, obviously, but like, that's boring for an answer. So, and not that, obviously these players I'm going to list are also very, very good players, but I think all-time favorite Yankee, I mean, if we're excluding those guys, and maybe if we're including them, is Brett Gardner.
Okay. Is it now? Obviously, have to ask. You've been transparent about your follicular.
Why would you ask?
Situation. How much of it is from one bald to another? Just that connection.
We have meetings.
The balds.
Yeah. Brett Gardner's our president.
Is Kevin Youkilis allowed in?
No. We kicked him out. He tried to come in, man. He maybe on the waiting list, but no,
Okay.
I'm not letting him in. And no one on the 2013 Yankees, other than a few of them.
Yeah. Vernon Wells can make a guest appearance. At the
Vernon Wells
Balls
could come.
convention.
I'd let Vernon Wells in.
Yeah.
There were some bad Yankees that I really liked.
That can be a whole thing. But yeah, okay. So
we can't get into that.
Brett Gardner, favorite of all time.
Brett Gardner is a favorite of mine. Mike Mussina.
Yep. As is tradition for co-hosts of this podcast, Steve's favorite all-time Yankee.
Yep. I do recall watching live from on a very small, very bad television, him losing his perfect game.
Yeah.
CC is a big one for me. That's kind of like my list. That's, again, outside of the core four and a couple others, that are kind of, boring answers. For somewhat obscure, I put in Phil Hughes.
Okay.
I really liked Phil Hughes. I liked once they transitioned him. Jason Dominguez just hit a 3-run home run.
Hell yeah, brother. Hey, what would you say about the world famous home run and where it plays into a team's strategy? How would you describe that?
Jason Dominguez just hit ball over fence.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay, that's what we're gonna get into next, but please continue.
Yeah. I liked Phil Hughes. Kind of, before it was cool to like Phil Hughes, because when he became like Twitter funny. I don't even know that. I haven't seen him on there, much anymore. But I really liked Gary Sheffield as a Yankee, and it has everything to do with the batting stance. I think everyone liked Gary Sheffield, as a kid.
Yeah.
And then for very obscure, one of these. I mean, you could guess one of these right off the bat.
The first place my brain went was Chase Headley.
Oh, so Chase Headley is on the list of very obscure, for obvious reasons.
Yep.
But he was not the first on the list of very obscure. This one I figured you'd get right away.
Oh my, I'm completely blanking. Well, I can only think of Chase Headley.
You want me to give it to you?
Please give me a hint.
Immaculate Grid.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna kill me. Oh no.
We use them all the time.
I know. Who is it?
Wilson Betamete.
Gosh dang it. Okay. Yes. Amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Wilson Betamete. Sean Chacon started the first game I ever saw at Yankee Stadium.
Famously Alaskan.
Yep. So I put in Sean Chacon. I liked him as a Yankee after that.
That's pretty sick.
Yep. It was his first start as a Yankee. That was my first Yankee game that I saw at Yankee Stadium.
That's awesome.
More recently, guys I can think of, another very obscure one, not that he wasn't really good. I loved Andrew Miller on the Yankees.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
He was just locked down.
Disgusting.
He was really good. And I look fondly even on 2016 as a year, which most
I do as well.
Yeah. It was just a different experience. 2016 was something I was ooh, prospects. I don't know what those are. That's so fun to have guys to look forward to. And that was really fun to get to have, Judge was obviously just coming up, Gary Sanchez, which I know is one of your favorite players. Yeah. And then you had, we traded for Gleyber Torres, traded for Clint Frazier, and, however these guys panned out is, irrelevant to the fact, in 2016, it was fun to kind of go about so fun. So I look fondly on those guys, even that we traded to,
totally
get those guys. Shout
out Adam Warren.
Yeah. And Adam Warren, man, Adam Warren, I'm mad I didn't write down Adam Warren as one of my favorite,
That's awesome.
very obscure Yankees ever, with like 3 different Yankee stints that were all like, but yeah, that's kind of the list that I came up with.
That's a strong list.
Yeah.
That's a strong list. So let's talk about hit ball over fence. Obviously, like, I think there's probably a decent portion of our audience that doesn't know that came from you. Like, I think people should not be out there comparing their Yankees Files bona fides. Like, a close connection to this podcast is not something to brag about. Access to these hosts is not something that is difficult to come by. With that said, you're like a pretty OG Yankees Files follower, listener, interlocutor, and your passion for the home run, I would say, matches ours philosophically. And we gave to the world the phrase world famous home run, which you have, of course, augmented and improved with hit ball over fence. So can you just explain to the people where in your beautiful mind hit ball over fence was conceived and how it came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this is going to be kind of a from what I remember type of deal, you know, but, I mean, first of all, like you said, like, you know, just real quick before I get into that, it's like, you know, and I want to commend you. You kind of touch on this in like your like pinned tweet on the Yankees Files account in that video. But, you know, I got into, you know, listening to Yankees Files because, I mean, there is just so much, like the Yankees, I feel like more than any other team, there is so much Yankees content. Like, you know, a lot of people talk about the Yankees, and I feel like a lot of that content, some of it, you know, I enjoy, like, you know, there's other, you know, like, you know, I am a big, you know, if I can, I don't want to shout out other shows, but like,
go ahead.
Names, like, you know,
people,
I mean,
we're an hour a week. People can listen to whatever they want.
Yeah. I listen to the Michael K show a lot, and I listen to all these, you know, very not smart callers. And, you know, I Michael K, I respect a lot. I think he's kind of he's half doomer, half positive.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. But like that said, I felt that Yankees Files was incredibly like unique in its approach. It's like, we're going to talk about the Yankees in a way that nobody's talking about the Yankees. And it's kind of helped me learn about baseball a lot more, because like now I'm, you know, watching games and I am like, you know, we're getting killed by BABIP on, you know, this game, and the ex-WOBA of this guy has been really good over the last 2 weeks, and, you know, just things I didn't do before. So it's very unique, and I think you guys deserve a lot of credit for that, because I don't think anyone else is kind of talking about the Yankees the way you guys are talking about them.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate that. And, you know, I think we've said like our community may be small, but we're really happy with the community that we've kind of cultivated here. And if there's any number of people, whether it's just you or whether there's some others who kind of find us and appreciate that about us, then I think we've done something good here. So thank you. And we're really happy that someone's had that experience with the show. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So there was like, you know, a tweet, obviously, that like, I remember someone, I don't know what account it was, but they were just like really getting into the weeds of like, here's why the Yankees offensive approach and being so home run dependent is like not a sustainable offense. Like, you know, this is just not the way to go about it. It's not, you know, it doesn't work this way. And I think you had responded, you know, or quote tweeted or something, and, you know, gave an argument as to why this person was objectively wrong. And I was like, these people get so into the weeds about being home run dependent. Like, and that's what's, you know, also like you can listen to Yankees Files and you hear about ex-WOBA and you hear about, you know, all of these statistics, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's very simple what you guys want the Yankees to do.
It is.
Which is hit ball over fence. And I was like, this person, this account that is talking about, you know, being too home run dependent and getting very into the weeds. I was like, I am going to simplify this so much that I'm not going to even use proper English. You know, I don't want it to be just hit the ball over the fence. It is hit ball over fence. There's no need for articles here. It's just hit ball over fence. And I think I did that one time. And then like every time after that, I saw anyone just like say, you know, the Yankees are too home run dependent, or, you know, oh, they hit too many home runs, which is just an insane sentence to even say. I feel like there's no such thing as too many home runs. There's no such thing. I mean, I saw the craziest one. Like I saw one the other day. It was like the Yankees hit 14 home runs in that 2-game series in Tampa. And somebody, it was like a big time writer too. I don't know who it was, but I don't know. And I don't know who they worked for, but they like tweeted like, you know, oh, this is the Yankees approach. Like, but are they, you know, is this sustainable for October? And I think I quote tweeted that and just said, yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, it is. They should keep hitting home runs. Like,
they should.
And I like that approach. It's not often that you have a team that, you know, I mean, I guess never, but like this team lost Juan Soto and leads the league in home runs.
And WRC plus.
And WRC plus.
It's almost like those things are related.
It is. One could assume that those things are related. So yeah, I think it just kind of, yeah, I didn't expect it to like, you know, obviously be adopted the way it has, but I am very glad that that can be my contribution both to the Yankees Files podcast and to the listeners of Yankees Files.
I mean, you're doing the world a service, I think. You know, friend of the show, Ken Knows Ball, likes to say that ball knowing is education. And hit ball over fence is kind of like the elementary level education in ball knowing. Yeah. Because really, you're right. Like the winning percentage of teams that out homer their opponents every year is between like 750 and 800. So just do it. Do you know what happens if you have an 800 winning percentage in the playoffs? You win the World Series. Mm-hmm. It's a fact. That's math.
Yep.
So yeah, hit ball over fence, truly like an iconic part of the Yankees Files brand, to the extent that any part of the Yankees Files brand can be iconic. If we ever make merch, it's going to say hit ball over fence or H-Boff on it, as it should. H-Boff is probably, I'm sure, actually, I'm positive by this point that it has exceeded Hot Gary Summer as our most used hashtag. I think the top 3 would be H-Boff, Steve, and Hot Gary Summer, which is a really strong top 3. So Taylor, we've kind of avoided it, not intentionally, for a long time here, but let's talk about your reactions to this year's team. You know, you talked about they lost Juan Soto and they have the best offense in the sport, so obviously there's a credit to them in there, but what were your expectations? How have they performed relative to your expectations? Who has impressed you? Who has disappointed you?
Yeah. I felt like coming into the year, it was almost a year that I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
I thought they'd be good. But I didn't know, I guess, just, you know, how good.
Sure.
Because, you know, their off season, I wasn't sure about the Cody Bellinger move. Like,
Agree.
I did not that didn't move the needle for me at all. It wasn't a move that I was like, oh, this is a really bad move, but I didn't think it was a really good one either. I think he has been obviously a very, very important piece of this team. I've been very pleased with that signing, whether he is a Yankee next year or not. I mean, it's, I have another friend that used to talk about the Yankees. He was on a podcast about the Yankees, and he used to say things like, I do not care at all about the 2028 Yankees.
Sure.
I care about the 2025 Yankees. He was doing, these were in different years, so he was using different years, but
sure.
And as of today, Cody Bellinger plays for the Yankees, and it looks like a really, really solid move. So he has impressed me. I think that was a great move. I'm really excited about just some of the this has been, a just breakout year for Ben Rice.
Yep.
He, I think, is the most exciting player on the team currently, just in regard. I mean, you have Judge, you have Stanton, but just from a standpoint of, hey, this is a guy that we can depend on for a really long time.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And it is really awesome. And whether it's at first base or at catcher, I'm good with either. But I had reservations about this team even after they got off to as hot a start as they did.
Sure.
Because it kind of, unfortunately has been somewhat of a pattern where the Yankees start, the past couple of years, start really, really hot. I mean, in 2022, you had, after the first 2 months, they were making 1998 comparisons.
Yes.
And when they started to sort of fall off a little bit, I doomed a little. I dabbled with dooming.
Another idea that you had was the Doomer Hotline.
Yes.
A segment on the podcast during which there's, interjections of dooming. So that's, it's only appropriate that you acknowledge that impulse in yourself.
For sure. Now I consider myself a part-time doomer.
Yep.
I think the difference between me and a lot of doomers is I do not enjoy dooming. I want the Yankees to play well, and I will acknowledge when they play well. And again, some of the, like callers I hear on different shows that are doomers, they bring me back from dooming because of how ridiculous like some of their, opinions are. And I'm like, the things you're saying would also not work. Like, you think Aaron Boone is not making the right decisions. And there are times where I don't think Aaron Boone's making the right decisions, but I know like what the solution that you're saying, Joe from Yonkers, like, I mean, you're saying something crazy as well. Like, that is not a feasible option, which I think brings me back, kind of from, dooming. But I am a lot more positive about this team after the Boston series than I thought I would be.
Okay.
I just think that, like, I would have signed up for let's split these games and go our separate ways. I would have signed up, if you gave me a button to press.
Yeah.
It was like, you can split these games. And the fact that we won, 7 of 8 before that series.
Yep.
And it was like, well, you can press a button and split these games. I would have pressed that button. And we fell short of that by one game.
Yep.
Like,
which was by one run.
By one run. Yeah. In a game where I honestly didn't feel that bad after losing it, because the current ace of your staff looked like the current ace of your staff.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, Max Fried having the form that he did in that game was one of the more encouraging things that we've seen from him in a long time. I think it's also worth noting, and we're not going to drain every game of the series.
Right.
Brian Bayo was getting some calls in that game that were heinous. Now, he was locating really well. He pitched really well. The Yankees didn't really threaten against him, but holy cow, did he not need the help that he was getting from the umpire that day? I will also say, and this is something that I did not see. A lot of people before the Sunday game had given the Red Sox the sweep. I had conversations with people who gave the Red Sox the sweep before the game was played on Sunday. And the Yankees came out and they stomped them. The game was never in question. The Red Sox only scored on a bloop single after a couple of the only impressive thing the Red Sox did in that game was work a couple of walks off of Rodon in the fifth when I don't know how those guys did that. But anyway, the Red Sox did nothing well on Sunday. The Yankees beat the crap out of them. And the narrative that nobody put forth for reasons that I don't understand is, wow, the Yankees were looking at a sweep. They were staring down the barrel of a sweep at the hands of their rival, and they stood up and they punched him in the mouth, and they're only a half game back. Why was that not the narrative coming out of the Sunday game? Anyway, I digress.
No, I think you're right. And I think that, first of all, Bayo is quickly, I give him credit. He is slowly becoming he's making a case to be the ace on the all Yankee killer team.
Yeah.
With Randall Grichuk starting at shortstop or second base or wherever the heck he plays, and whatever. But that said, I even found something encouraging about the third game of the series.
Sure.
Well, I guess what I was going to say, the second game of that series was the largest case for robot umpires I've seen.
Yes,
it was so bad. Really, really bad because it wasn't just, it was both ways. There were a lot of pitches.
It was just a horrendous,
that I thought were strikes that were called balls, and then pitches that were balls called strikes. It wasn't like he was just missing one way.
It was a horrendous performance.
In Rodon's start, 6 inches below the strike zone is apparently a strike, but if that's going to be consistent, I can live with that.
Although there was that inning where Wells strikes out looking on that pitch, and then Duran walks on the same pitch. That bothered me.
That bothered me too. But the third game, it was for Hill and Blackburn to be able to go out there and save everyone else in the bullpen, I thought was positive.
I agree.
The Yankees could have made it a game in the eighth inning when they got a couple runners on and just didn't score them. And I did think 5-1, I would have liked to have seen Blackburn maybe taken out there because I found myself being wow, it was he pitched 1 inning and I was wow, Blackburn did pretty good there,
Yeah.
And then he pitched 2 innings. I was wow, what a great job he's done to save the pen. And then he pitched another one and I was I'm okay, this has gone too far. He's done well, but there's no way this can continue, and it didn't. But I still give him a lot of credit for saving the pen. And that was a reason we were able to, kind of do what we did on Sunday.
Yep.
Weaver was the right call out of the pen. He got
absolutely
should have gotten Nathaniel Lowe out. It was just a fluke, ball that dropped in. And you're right. It was never in question on Sunday that would win. And if you take a look at the Yankees schedule this week, I know that Boston is also playing, the Orioles and the Pirates. But if you would have signed up for a split of that series, you are one Yankees win this week in a week where they play the Nationals and White Sox, and one Red Sox loss away from having that same result.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I came out of that series a lot more positive than I thought I would be.
And I'm glad to hear that. So talk to me about Aaron Boone.
I do go back and forth on Aaron Boone.
So let's start from first principles here.
Okay.
How important do you think a manager is to a Major League Baseball team? And if it's helpful, maybe describe it this way. If I gave an average manager a 90-win team, let's suppose they win 90 games. How many games do you think a good manager wins with that team?
The initial number that came to my head is 94.
That strikes me as a big number, but okay. So with understanding how you're quantifying the value of a manager in your mind, let's now transition to how you feel about Aaron Boone.
Okay. And I think the subjective way I would put it, and there's no way to, again, like quantify what I'm saying, but just from like, obviously listening to this podcast, like I think a manager is more important than maybe you think a manager's important,
Yeah.
but I don't think they're as important as I think a lot of others.
Sure. Okay.
But I do think they're somewhat important. And I think that I'd be willing to and again, I think right now, just to preface, like Aaron Boone is the manager of the 2025 Yankees. He will be until the 2025 Yankee season is over. And I think I might have different thoughts, obviously, like based on the result of the season. You're making a face, but
no, I was squinting to read the screen.
Oh, okay. But if one of my arguments to you would be, and I'm sure you've gotten this before, but if a manager matters so little, like you said, like if they're given a 90-win team, and if a bad manager would win 90 games with that team and a good manager would win 90 games with that team, I guess I just don't see the what consequences there would be by that logic of trying somebody different. Like,
oh yeah,
you see what I mean?
And that's something that I think Steve has touched on, and maybe I've touched on. If the Yankees move on from, in some way, Aaron Boone, what will or might upset me about that decision would not be, oh my gosh, the Yankees are losing a strategic genius in Aaron Boone. It will be, I think the Yankees have misidentified what ails them. If the Yankees lose at some point this year, it will probably be because they don't have enough quality pitching. And that's not all their fault. They had Clark Schmidt and Garrett Cole, and they both got hurt, either after quality options were off the board, either just shortly before the season or during the season. So like, that's probably what will happen to the Yankees. Or if that is what happens, if the Yankees fall short, that is probably why they'll fall short. During the season, before any quality arms were available to be moved, Luke Weaver got hurt. Devin Williams had a woefully ineffective stretch. Fernando Cruz got hurt. He's still, not coming back until the day this podcast is posted. Mark Leiter got hurt. Like, the Yankees they're going on a stretch of about 3 months during which I think they have like 3 guys on the active roster with an ERA below 3.5, maybe like 5 guys with an ERA below 4 on the entire staff on the active roster in that span.
Yeah.
Like, if the Yankees fire Aaron Boone because Jeff Hartlieb isn't a particularly good pitcher. Like I think that would be a misidentification of what ails them. So yeah, I won't be saying that the Yankees are losing something specifically in Aaron Boone, just that they've improperly reacted to the circumstances in front of them.
Yeah. But I think that there are situations where I don't know. Like I feel like there have
it's been hard, times, right? Because it's hard to isolate the value really of a manager. It's hard to know what is the team emphasizing organizationally. Like, people talk about the base running mistakes. Multiple times we've heard Aaron Boone, especially on guys getting thrown out as part of a double steal or something, say like, well, there's something we're trying to do there. This has been consistent over multiple years. Or why did they go to a certain guy in a certain matchup? Well, they have a belief about why that guy ought to be effective in that spot. Like, I think there are a lot of things that make it very hard to isolate the value of a manager. A question I would pose to you is, this year, Tim Tawa, who's like a utility player on the Diamondbacks, is hitting 200, 262, 355. He has a 68 WRC plus. He has exactly 0 Fangraphs WAR in 173 plate appearances. So he's on pace to have 0 WAR this year if he plays anymore at the major league level. Mm-hmm. Cody Bellinger's on pace for 4 WAR. Supposing Aaron Boone is an average manager, are you telling me that you'd be just as happy for the Yankees to have a good manager and Tim Tawa as you would for the Yankees to have Aaron Boone and Cody Bellinger? Because that's 4 wins. And I'll take when you think about it that way, I find it really hard to believe that managers are as important as people suggest that they are.
I will take Cody Bellinger and Aaron Boone every time. And I think a lot of this, because some of this, of course, is astrology, as you like to put it. Some of it's astrology, and I do think that Yankee fans are, look. I mean, the Yankees don't, at least in recent history, and by recent history I mean my lifetime. The Yankees don't fire managers. I mean, they don't. I mean, in my lifetime, there's only 3 Yankee managers that I can remember. Right? I remember more presidential terms than Yankee managers, right?
Yeah.
I think when I was born, Buck Showalter was the manager.
Okay.
I was born in 93, so that was before Torrey, right?
Yeah.
So that was Showalter, but I was too young to know Showalter. So Torrey, Girardi, Boone. And I think Yankee fans are accustomed to a certain type of manager. They look to Torrey, they look to Girardi, and that's what they want. And yes, that can be a little astrology-y, And one thing, if I can give a cross sports reference real quick.
Sure. Is this going to be about Philip Fulmer or Butch Jones?
Rick Barnes.
Oh, okay.
Rick Barnes. So I love Rick Barnes. I love Rick Barnes. Every Tennessee fan you ask loves Rick Barnes. And for those listening to this podcast that are not super into University of Tennessee basketball, which I imagine we don't have a lot of. I think it's a big crossover. I think a lot of Yankees Files listeners are also tuning into every Tennessee basketball game.
A lot of Vols out there. Scotty Hobson wrote in the other day that he just absolutely loves this show.
That's awesome to know. Yeah. I mean, I talked to CJ Watson the other day. He said the same.
Exactly. We're just trying to get Tobias Harris on one day.
For sure.
My cousin.
But Rick Barnes, for all intents and purposes, is one of the nicest people ever. People talk about Rick Barnes being a really, really nice guy. They call him Deacon Barnes. He's a deacon in his church, I think.
Oh, wow.
But Rick Barnes, and we're talking about, college kids, which sometimes, especially now these days, are the same age as like players playing for the Yankees. Like I'm pretty sure Anthony Volpe is probably the same age as somebody who's going to start for Tennessee basketball this year.
They probably have multiple players older than Jason Dominguez.
Absolutely, they do.
Yeah.
But, we are talking about college athletes, and Rick Barnes will go into a press conference, and he is not afraid to just kind of light into his guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen that in that separate fandom of mine, in that world. And almost every time the guys that he will like rip to the media, and he's not being like mean, but he's saying things that Yankee fans want Aaron Boone to say about players.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time those guys they end up playing a lot better.
Do you think that's just because he's correct to note that their true talent level is higher than what they displayed in the moment that's being criticized? Or do you think he's causing that better play by saying something publicly?
Well, they definitely, I see your point, and they do have the talent level, obviously, to play better than when they're not playing up to the level they're capable of. But it is, I see an argument for the astrology when he continues to do that, and they continue to, it's like the next game out, they'll be very good. And I don't think, like, I heard, on the,
I think Mark Leiter just gave up a grand slam.
I think he did. Yeah.
Oh no, it's only 10-5. What are we going to do?
I know.
Also, it's like,
I mean, why would you bring Mark Leiter in a 10-1 situation? We have to fire Aaron Boone.
I understand there's like a community of people out there that really are into Yerry De Los Santos, and I don't want to yuck anybody's yums. Yerry De Los Santos doesn't really miss a lot of bats, and Yerry De Los Santos is really cool with walking dudes, and sometimes that means that Yerry De Los Santos turns a 10-0 lead into a 10-5 game. Now, am I worried that Mark Leiter isn't going to successfully end this game? Not really. He only has to get one out. Is it unfortunate that he allowed a grand slam? Yes, but like,
Yeah.
Anyway, as you were saying.
Yeah. I will say that I do want to, I'll steer away from Boone a little bit, because here is where you and I think, are very aligned.
Yes. We both think Alex Rodriguez should be the manager.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow. Alex, when what he said about Anthony Volpe, he was lying. He didn't mean that. He didn't mean it. Alex Rodriguez hit 696 home runs. That dude loves home runs. I don't care.
The guy is top 5 all time in both home runs and strikeouts, and he wants everyone to think he was like Jacob Wilson. It's amazing.
In that same interview, he was like, I think my home runs were misses. I was trying to hit line drives. I was like, no, you weren't.
No,
you're a liar.
Yeah, I took a lot of steroids so I could hit more line drives to the gap. Go home, Alex. Also, Yankees won. Yankees are good.
There we go.
Anyway, you were saying that we're aligned on.
I think we're aligned on that. Like, obviously, Aaron Boone is not the only target that Yankees fans come after with knives and pitchforks.
That's for sure.
They come after Brian Cashman as well. And
who so generously sponsors this podcast in the background under the table. So yeah, I'd appreciate if people stopped coming for our guy.
I think Brian Cashman is just quite simply a very good general manager.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, what are we talking about? Like, yes, there are moves every baseball team has made moves that they shouldn't have made. Do I like that the Yankees are, I mean, it's not my money, so I don't care, but do I like that they're paying Aaron Hicks money right now? Like, are they still?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I want to make sure I got that right.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you are unfortunately correct about that.
yeah. Like, do I like that? No. But especially like at this deadline, I thought that was like one of the more incredible Brian Cashman performances.
Oh my God. A masterclass. An absolute masterclass to assess the starting pitching market, really aggressively go after guys. We have it on good authority that the Marlins were basically like, we will not talk to anyone. And then pivot and just be like, I'm going to get a bunch of absolutely nasty relievers. And look, like, has the Jake Bird thing not worked out yet? It hasn't, but will it probably in the long run? Yes. Ditto Camilo Doval, David Bednar, been incredible. Ryan McMahon, for the qualms that I have about his offense, has locked down third base in a way that no one's been able to for the Yankees for a while. Like, Jose Caballero has been a very good addition in his ability to play all over the place and pinch run and give Volpe a day at shortstop. Ahmed Rosario has been Ahmed Rosario. Like, just such good stuff. Also, I do want to note that, like, a serious organization wouldn't be paying all this money to these bad players. Michael Conforto. Does anyone know what team Michael Conforto, who has a 75 WRC plus and negative 0.9 WAR and is making $17 million, plays for? Does anyone know what team Michael Conforto is on? I just want to make sure. Taylor.
He plays for the Dodgers, right?
He does play for the Dodgers. So, like, can we just stop doing the thing where, like, only the Yankees are fallible?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you just mentioned it, like, you know, Yankee fans wanted something done, whatever that means, about Anthony Volpe. Like, it's being done. Look at Jose Caballero. Like, you know, and Anthony Volpe has shown, like, he's a pretty good player when he doesn't play every single day.
Also, the other thing about Anthony Volpe, or there are two things about Anthony Volpe. First, Anthony Volpe last year was a 3.5 win player, and a bunch of people on the internet were mad because he got 3.5 wins in a, like, composition that they didn't like. They wanted it to be more offense and less defense. Instead, it was more defense and less offense. And now he has the same offense results wise, but the defense has gone away and people are like, oh, he's a terrible player. So now you acknowledge the value of defense? Little bit annoying. Second, Anthony Volpe has a 315 xWOBA this year. If you take his expected stats, he would have a 722 OPS. He'd be like a 2-WAR player in spite of his defensive regression. I think that's, like, pretty. Anthony Volpe with this year's expected offense and last year's defense is like a 5-win player. So you can understand what the Yankees are seeing and why they're not willing to just completely give up on Anthony Volpe.
No,
I apologize for that aside.
Absolutely. I would not give up on him either.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think he's, first of all, like, why would you? Like, you know, he
plays for the league minimum. He's 24 years old. He's had a 3.5 win season. Like, yeah.
And I think you and Steve, like, mentioned, like, a few episodes ago, the last year his defense was better than when he won the Gold Glove.
Yes, by a lot too.
By a lot.
Yeah.
Who ended up winning? Like, who was?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, but
who knows?
A lot of people say, like, you know, I love the Yankees. I'm a baseball fan first, and I love baseball. Baseball is the best. But don't get me wrong, I am a Yankee fan first. The Yankees are, that is what I care about when it comes to baseball. So, like, whoever won the Gold Glove last year that didn't play, I mean, obviously I pay attention to all the baseball because I'm not as good as you, but I'm fairly decent.
It was Bobby Witt.
Okay. That checks out.
Fair. Especially because, as we know from the career of one Derek Jeter, the Gold Glove is an offensive award. So
yeah.
I remember there's one year what Rafael Palmeiro played like 38 games at first base one year and won the Gold Glove. And it's like, okay, we could just give this up.
I was looking at the, and we'll, you know, I'll say I was looking at some stats earlier.
Okay.
And the year that, like, I had forgotten that when Blake Snell won the AL Cy Young, he pitched like 33 less innings than Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
And that year, like it was a year where there were, I forget the exact stat, but it was like there were very few 200 inning pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost nobody got to 200 innings.
I think,
and it was the first year of that. I imagine it's happened more since then.
Oh, I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
I think there was a stat that I found at one point, and I think it is that James Shields has more 200 inning seasons with the Rays than every pitcher who's been on the Rays since James Shields combined.
Say that one more time.
So James Shields has like 2 or 3 200 inning seasons as a member of the Rays over his career.
Yes.
Every single pitcher who's pitched for the Rays since James Shields combined has like 1 200 inning season. It's like, I forget who it is. It's not Shane McClanahan. It's not Blake Snell. It's like someone in like, 2000. No, Tyler Glasnow's never thrown that many. But someone in like 2015 threw like 200 innings, and that's it.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, it's gone away. I also remember like Carl Pavano obviously pitched like 47 innings for the Yankees and then pitched like 198 and 204 innings in his next 2 seasons with the Twins after leaving. Shout out Southington, Connecticut. Anyway, Taylor, we've gone on for a while here.
For sure.
I want to make sure we haven't missed anything that you were really hoping you get to talk about on this Yankees Files podcast. And I know we have, because we have not talked about the 2018 Rookie of the Year, Miguel Andujar.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you some A player and B player stats.
Okay.
And you get to guess who is who.
Okay.
And obviously this is going to be a shock. Nobody has any way of knowing.
That's
who's, who these players
who we could possibly be comparing.
Who could we possibly be talking about? So, player A.
Yep.
93 hits. This is over a season. 93 hits.
That's not that many.
45 extra base hits.
That's a lot, especially as a share of 93.
22 home runs.
Okay.
61 RBIs.
All right.
150 WRC plus.
Okay. I would say that's a pretty productive season.
That's a pretty productive season.
It's a pretty productive half season.
Yeah. It's a pretty productive season. And then 51.2 innings, 3.31 ERA. But anyway.
Yeah, but that's like a quarter season, maybe a third.
Not even. Yeah, that's not even pitching. Yeah. Is
Dylan Betances pitched way more than that without ever making a start. So like,
it's a C average out of the bullpen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then player B had 170 hits.
That's a lot more.
76 extra base hits.
Also a lot more.
And I combined the doubles, which happened to be the franchise record for doubles in a season.
That's pretty good
at this time. 27 home runs.
Nice.
Which is more than 22.
It is, famously. I checked.
92 RBIs.
That's also a lot more.
And a 129 WRC plus.
Still good.
So like of those two players, who had the better year?
I think you'd have to give it to player B.
I think it has to be player B.
Yeah.
It should be player B.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it, that player A is Shohei Ohtani.
Of course, like player B probably had like a gambling scandal and then was like scamming people out of real estate deals and like probably did some like shady stuff like that, right?
You would think so.
I would.
You would think so.
Is that not what happened?
But I actually have not read anything like that about one Miguel Andujar.
Oh, man.
Who
See, that's a conundrum.
Was rightfully the 2018 AL Rookie of the Year. And
let's not forget, that was the third time in as many seasons that the Yankees had a player robbed of a major award, and the second time in 3 seasons that that award was Rookie of the Year, because obviously Michael Fulmer stole by some illicit means Rookie of the Year in 2016 from Gary Sanchez. So
correct.
Really, I'm right there with you on a cause like this.
Was Gary Sanchez also... No, never mind. Because he was eligible. Didn't he come in third in like 2017 too? Because he didn't play like the full season in 2016.
I don't think so. I think you're making that up. But that reminds me that there are some great like Rookie of the Year eligibility things. I think, Luis Heel winning Rookie of the Year in his 4th year is a great one. Edison Volquez came in like 3rd in Rookie of the Year in his 4th season in a different league than the one in which he debuted. That's a good one. Rookie eligibility is a wild thing, man.
It is a wild thing.
So Taylor, you pay attention to the podcast. You know that we always wrap up by rating our confidence in the team, which recently has just meant rating how likely we think it is that they're going to make the playoffs, because Steve has bastardized the system. You can obviously take it however you see fit, but your confidence out of 10 in the New York Yankees.
It's higher than it was a week ago.
Justifiably.
And I truthfully still could see the Toronto Blue Jays falling off.
I could too.
They always do. I do not think the division is out of the question.
Yep.
I don't know if this rating is maybe contrary to everything that I just said, but I have to go around. I am going to give it a 7.3.
So that's much more in the style of the classic Yankees Files.
Yes.
Confidence rating. And I think if I were giving it that way, I'd be right in that same ballpark, something between 7 and 7.5. The pitching concerns me. There are guys who I'd like to be more reliable who have not been. I'm excited to get Fernando Cruz back. I'm excited about what Camilo Doval can be. I'm enthused by what I've seen recently from Devin Williams, but obviously you need consistent performances from those guys. Will Warren and Cam Schlittler have both shown us stuff to be really excited about. Maybe Max Fried is back. There's a lot of upside, but not as much reliable production as you'd want. The offense, of course, is very good, and I think reliably will continue to be. So yeah, I think I'd be right in that same boat. Well, Taylor, it's been a pleasure. So glad we were finally able to have Evolve for Life, the originator of Hit Ball Over Fence, a true Yankees Files OG, on the podcast. It's been a long time coming, as we discussed. Also, personally very glad we were able to have a notable Taylor from Nashville on the show, as that is what sends podcasts to the moon these days.
That's the way to do it these days. Yeah.
Any parting shots from you? Anything you just want to make sure you get out to the listeners and followers before we wrap things up?
Yeah. No, I mean, first off, just like want to touch on, just real quick, like Devin Williams is like I feel like he's like a toxic ex or something. Like you see the bad, and then like a week later, you're like, man, that, look at that. He's pretty good, and I know that you're like a Devin Williams believer, for sure. But like I was all the way out, and I'm like, oh man, I might be back in. But,
I can understand that.
Yeah. But no, I think that's it for me. Who does Notre Dame open with?
Notre Dame opens in Hard Rock Stadium at the Miami Hurricanes and Carson Beck. Who do the Vols have?
Syracuse.
Oh, former Notre Dame quarterback Steve Peanut Butter Angeli starting for the Orange.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just knew that Kyle McCord is gone.
Yeah.
And
So
I was happy about that.
Steve Angeli, he's from Bergen Catholic in New Jersey. Solid passer, surprisingly mobile, but doesn't have the I need to get out of the pocket clock in his head. So he just takes ridiculously bad sacks. Just like stands there like a statue and gets sacked. So if the Vols have any pass rush, they should be fine. Do you want to make a call on the Vols this year? Are they going back to the playoff? Are they advancing? What's the outlook?
This is the first year in a while, like I really have no idea what to expect because of the quarterback situation. I don't know if I don't know who Joey Aguilar is, and we'll find out, I'm sure, quickly. The optimist in me wants to say, I think 9-3 is a pretty reasonable prediction.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with. I think a return to the playoffs is very possible. We didn't get great quarterback play last year. And, unlike, a lot of Josh Heupel teams, the defense was kind of the backbone of the team. I think they improved in some areas in that regard. And 9-3 is what I'll say, but and hope for better.
All right. Well, go Irish, go Vols. Thanks everyone for listening. Keep up with everything we do at yankeesfiles.com podcast, or you can follow us on Twitter where we are at Yankees Files. The podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow Taylor on Twitter at TaylorJackson17, and you should. If you enjoy the podcast, we hope you'll rate, review, subscribe, interact with it in whatever positive way exists on that platform. Get the added bonus of video if you're a listener on Spotify, and the whole video podcast goes up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@crosstownsports. That's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Steve and I will be back similar time, similar place next week to recap the series against the Nats and White Sox. And until then, let's go Yankees.
7 wins. That's what that's going to be.
Hell yeah.
And I say, hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, yeah. I say,